So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
British Spy Stories Season 4 Double Agent Episode 24. The 4 spies walk upstairs to the IT room in the Sigma 17 safehouse and settle on chairs. Hans starts to go through the details of the robbery and pulls up a floor plan on the big screen next to him.
This is the basement layout in the Friedrich Andersen HQ in Frankfurt. This is the secure doorway to the vaults.
He points to part of the plan.
The only way to access it is through this set of doors. There are 2 parts to the corridor outside the doors. One leads up to the building foyer. The other leads to a 4-inch steel door out at the goods entrance.
The women exchange glances.
When the system is locked down, he continues, there are infrared beams beyond the secure doors. We'll have to disable them.
What about the doors into the vaults?
Says Laravel.
2 deadlock timers, says Hans. They can only be open for 15 minutes before the alarms trip.
15 minutes isn't long enough, surely,
says Cade.
Isn't there 2 billion in gold bars?
It'll have to be enough, says Gabby.
There are nearly 3,400-ounce gold bars in 2 billion Swiss francs. That's just over 2 cubic meters.
Hans says,
there's a 44-ton lorry that's already scheduled to arrive at the bank. Tech branch have used the system's access that we planted 3 weeks ago to generate a false record for a delivery.
And moving the bars?
Says Kate, not letting go of her need to be convinced.
3,000 bars in 15 minutes? That's 200 bars a minute. Is there a forklift or something?
The floor has pressure pads. Only 2 people can be in the vault or anywhere in the secure area. But we've got a solution.
What about the cash?
Says Laravel. Hans turns back to the floor layout.
This second vault next to the gold contains only one thing. A giant isolated server farm which holds the cash electronically. There is no internet connection, and the login screen only allows 1 incorrect entry before it locks for 24 hours.
So we hack it?
Says Kate. He nods.
Tech branch have built us a box to generate the password. It has to be right first time. Then we get in, connect to the internet, and move it all.
After another hour, they finish going through all of the details.
There's briefing material here for each of us on our specific roles, says Hans.
Read and destroy, please, says Gabby. He hands round the paperwork. Then Gabby stands. This is our only briefing on the robbery. We go in 3 days. I need you to practice and be rock solid on every second of the plan. The whole thing depends on timing. The winter sun cuts through the windows of the boardroom on the top floor of Friedrich Andersen headquarters. Around an oval table, the directors sit with their documents and phones marking out their respective territories. The finance director, Elke Hoffmann, is making a verbal report about the next quarter's target numbers. She finishes and there are no questions.
Any other business?
Says Amandine, looking up from her papers. Arno raises his hand.
Yes, Arno. I have a motion to propose, Amandine. You're supposed to get all the board motions in 24 hours before the meeting, Arno. I'm aware, he says, but this is an extraordinary and urgent issue.
There is a mixture of nervousness and expectation on the faces around the room.
Go ahead, then,
she says.
I propose that with immediate effect, Amandine Lacroix is replaced as chair of Friedrich Andersen.
Her face suddenly looks angry, but the others barely react. Arno continues.
It has come to light that Frau Lacroix is working with known criminals and has abused her position as our chair and has involved Friedrich Andersen in criminal activity. Arno!
Her voice cuts through the air.
I'm sorry I had to do it like this, Amandine, but you left me no choice. I don't know what you're talking about,
she says. Amandine looks round at the other directors.
Did you all know about this?
No one answers, but their faces tell her everything she needs to know.
These accusations I patently fabricated.
There is silence around the table.
Elke,
she says, but the finance director looks away. Arno continues.
Here are some documents that outline the criminal acts that our chair has been involved with.
He hands a pile of stapled papers to the man next to him, to take one and pass on.
I wholly refute these allegations.
Her voice is losing power.
This meeting has ended, ladies and gentlemen. Arno, let's talk outside. I propose we vote on my motion.
Arno isn't going to stop.
Thank you, everyone,
she says, standing up.
All those in favour,
says Arno. Gradually all the hands go up, around the table. Amandine watches the people, and the water in her eyes shines in the sunlight.
All those against?
Says Arno. No hands are raised. Amandine picks up her papers. The eyes in the room are all trained on her. She pauses, as though she is going to say something, then seems to decide against it, and walks out of the room with as much poise as she has in her. As the door shuts behind Amandine, Arno says,
I propose that Elke and I temporarily take the joint role of managing director.
There are nods around the table. He stands up and moves to the end of the room, then drops down into the empty chair where Amandine had been sitting. The man known as L'Equipe 84 has only been to Oscar Zetkin's house once before. That was a Christmas drinks party. Now he's nervous, as every time that Mr. Zetkin calls special meetings, it's always bad news. A maid answers the door and shows him into the dining room to one side of the house, which has a view of the garden.
Franco!
Zetkin's voice booms as he walks into the room, and L'Equipe 84 jumps out of his skin.
What did the hotel manager say?
I haven't gone there yet, sir.
I pay you good money, Franco. Don't let me down, says Zetkin. And what's this I saw on the bank account? We're 40% down on income this month.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the U.S. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
People haven't been paying.
Then apply pressure.
Zetkin's anger is building.
They're saying they won't pay, sir.
Won't pay? Do I need to send more forceful people around? They need to understand that without payments to us, their businesses could be in danger. You never know when fires can break out, do you?
Franco is not thinking what to say, only wondering when the front door bell will sound. And what about this assassination job with your new blonde woman? That still hasn't been done.
I know, sir.
It's not good enough, Franco.
Zetkin steps close up to the other man and pushes his face close in to his.
You know I can find other people to do your job.
He slaps Franco on the cheek, hard enough for a red mark to appear on his skin. Franco puts his hand up to his face. Zetkin's frustration rides up like a lark on the air. He pushes Franco, and the man stumbles back against the dining table. Zetkin swings his arm back and hits Franco on the face again, with his open palm.
Don't, sir.
The sound of the bell from the front gate breaks Zetkin's concentration. He shakes his head and walks to the intercom screen in the hallway.
Yeah,
he says.
This is Lieutenant Faber from the Zurich police, Herr Zetkin. Can I have a word? I'm busy.
Zetkin spits out.
I have to insist, sir.
Zetkin sighs heavily and presses the gate release. He opens the front door, and Faber's huge frame turns the corner into the gardens. As he walks up towards Zetkin, another policeman follows Faber, then another, until 7 officers are in line behind the lieutenant.
Oscar Zetkin, you are under arrest for extortion, fraud, and blackmail.
For one of the few times in his life, Zetkin is lost for words. One of the police walks up to him and clips a handcuff on his wrist, then pulls his arms back behind him and secures the cuffs together.
We have a search warrant for these premises, Herr Zetkin, says Faber. Off you go, boys and girls.
The police push into the property and separate into different rooms. Zetkin is resolutely silent.
Is there anyone else on the premises, sir?
Says Faber.
A cook and a maid downstairs.
Franco steps out from the dining room, and Faber looks across at him.
And Franco Arbor is here, says the lieutenant. Cuff him too, Corporal. Put Arbor back in the dining room and take Zetkin to search the study. We need the safe combination from him.
Lieutenant Faber follows one of his men into the dining room and asks to be left alone with Franco, who is sitting on a chair in handcuffs.
Well done, Franco, he says. Your evidence has been critical to this case. I'll make sure the judge knows how helpful you've been.
Thank you, Lieutenant,
says Franco.
Mr. Zetkin mustn't find out, though. You promised me.
Of course, of course.
He'll kill me if he finds out.
Don't worry, Franco.
The cell door swings open and a policeman brings in a tray of food. Outside, the starless night sky can be seen through a high window in Zetkin's cell.
Joseph, he says, you need to help me.
I can't, Mr. Zetkin. Not in here.
I'll pay you 500,000 francs.
He keeps his eyes trained on the other man.
The shower room is down the hallway. I'm asking you to let me have a shower, and maybe one of the windows might be unlocked. What do you say?
Mr. Zetkin, I don't know.
1 million then, Joseph. Think what you could do with that. I've got the cash in a safe place on the other side of town.
Joseph thinks about what the man has said.
They won't blame you, Joseph. 1 million. Tax-free.
All right,
says the man. Zetkin holds out his hands for him to put the cuffs on him for the journey to the shower room. Once inside, Joseph removes the cuffs again, then stands outside the locked door of the room and hears the shower start. A policewoman passes by Joseph, and they smile formally at each other.
He's having a shower,
he says, in answer to an unasked question. But she doesn't stop to talk. After 10 minutes, the shower is still running, and Joseph unlocks the door and goes in. The room is steamy,
and he pushes through the vapour. At the far end of the room, one of the top windows swings gently in the night air. He immediately turns and starts to shout, "Prisoner escape!" He runs out, and back along the corridor. The taxi driver looks suspiciously at Zetkin when he slips into his cab. The passenger has no shoes on and a cut on one arm that is still bleeding. But the driver also recognizes him, and he knows that this man is not a man to be on the wrong side of. As the cab drops him off outside the gates to the lake house, Zetkin mumbles something about getting the money to the cab driver for the fare. But before he can say not to bother, the back door slams, and Zetkin has gone into the night. The gates are still open as Luke has just arrived back from collecting Amandine from the airport. Zetkin walks up to the front door and hammers on the wood. Inside the house, Amandine is pouring herself a brandy when the knock comes. She walks to the lounge door and sees that Luke is still in the hallway.
"Who on earth is that at this hour?"
she says.
"Can you tell him to go away, Luke, please?"
A minute later, Luke reappears.
"Madame, it's Herr Zetkin."
She carries her brandy to the lounge door again and sees him at the end of the hallway.
"Oscar, what happened? Come and have a drink. You look in a terrible state. Luke, get Herr Zetkin some clean clothes, will you? There are some in my husband's wardrobe in the bedroom." "Yes, madame."
Zetkin walks into the lounge. She pours him a brandy and tops hers up. They sit on the sofa. He drinks and she looks concerned. "The police came," he says. "Someone's leaked. They've got evidence of some sort, but I escaped."
"Will they come here?"
He shakes his head. She drinks a mouthful of alcohol, then says,
"I have my own news, Oscar. The board have thrown me out of my own father's company."
"You don't seem to be upset."
"I have plans. I was going to leave anyway."
"What plans?"
"Take the money and run."
"We could run together, Amandine." She looks at him and smiles.
"Where?"
"An island somewhere." He takes a swig of his drink. "I have some cash to collect, then we could meet up and just leave."
"That reminds me."
She stands up and walks briskly out of the room, without explanation. In her bedroom upstairs, Laravel is asleep. From the distance, she can hear Amandine, and thinks it's a dream. The voice gets louder as it repeats her cover name.
"Natalie, Natalie, Natalie."
Then Laravel is awake, and Amandine is standing over her.
"A change of plan, Natalie." "Madame?"
she says sleepily.
"Yes, we need to bring our plan forward." "Why, madame?" "No need for you to know that. Just tell your friends that the robbery needs to be tomorrow. They're not ready, madame? Tell them. Tomorrow, or it's off. And I'll go to the police and say that you planned the whole thing all along. Madame, tell them."
Amandine doesn't wait for any more conversation and turns out of the room. Laravel can hear her feet echo along the corridor, then down the stairs. She still isn't fully awake yet and shakes her head to get the sleep out of her mind, then reaches for her phone. Downstairs, Zetkin has his eyes closed and is resting his head back on the sofa cushions when Luke arrives with clothes for him.
"Mr. Zetkin,"
he says.
"These should fit you."
Zetkin takes the garments from the chauffeur. "Thank you. There's something else I need. Luke, isn't it? I need a vehicle. Are there any spare cars in those garages down the side of the house?"
"Only the master's Maserati, sir."
"No, that won't do. But I'll do a deal with you. You get me a car, and I'll write off the debts that you have."
"What debts?"
Luke acts surprised. Zetkin smiles. The men who lent you the money work for me, Luke. Get me a car, and you can breathe easy again. Luke nods.
My friend can get cars. Mr. Zetkin.
In the safe house on the outskirts of Zurich, Gabby is asleep. But as soon as the phone vibrates on her nightstand, she is fully awake.
What is it, Jenny?
She says, after looking at the screen to see the caller.
Amandine wants it tomorrow.
Why?
She wouldn't say.
I think it's connected to something Comms Branch sent to me early this evening, says Gabby. Amandine has been voted off the board of Friedrich Anderson. There's more, too. Do you remember that our objective for Operation Barwood is to stop the loans from Friedrich Anderson being used to fund terrorism?
Sure.
That funding happened because of two things. Amandine improving the loans and Oscar Zetkin finding clients through his network of armed groups. Well, the Zurich police arrested Zetkin last night. It's another piece of the jigsaw. We just need to steal the gold and cash, and we're home and dry.
So, can we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, we can. I'll ask Hans to shift the truck delivery date on the computer system. You get over here and we'll drive to Frankfurt, and we'll be ready for the op in the morning.